Hi, everybody. Orville Johnson here, and I just wanted to tell you a little bit about this guitar that I'm using in several of the lessons here on Peghead Nation. This is a guitar that was built for me by Ron Phillips, who is a great maker of metal guitars, and he also makes ukuleles, makes several, other kinds of instruments out of metal like this and with resonators. And so this one I acquired. This was actually the very first custom made guitar that I ever had made for myself. And I got this back in 1999. And I knew Ron from years at the Centrum Blues Workshop up in Port Townsend, Washington. It's a week-long music workshop that's concentrated on blues that started up there in the 90s. And Ron used to come up there every year, and I taught there every year. And so we got to know each other, and I got to play a bunch of his guitars that other players there had. And I liked his guitars. But, I never really thought about having one made for myself, just because I was a person that always had the philosophy that I shouldn't have someone make me a guitar. I should just find a guitar that I like and then buy it. Because I thought, what if I had somebody make a custom guitar for me and then I didn't like it? That was my reasoning. And so I was talking with Ron about that because, I did really like his guitars, and I do play Resonator guitars. And so I told him about my philosophy, and if he were to make me a guitar, I said, well, what if I didn't like it? And he said, well, I just make you another one. And I thought, I never thought of that. And because, of course, like many of the great guitar makers, of course, he has a waiting list of people that want his guitars. And so he could, I'm sure, turn around and, sell a guitar. But, of course, that's not what happened. I did decide to have him make me one, and he made it, and I loved it. So it was a moot point. And that changed my whole philosophy, because now I have several guitars that I've had people make for me. And so it was possibly not the best financial decision in my philosophy change, but I got some nice guitars, and this one I really like a lot. The things I like about it are its size. He calls this a parlor guitar. He makes metal guitars in all sizes, so the tricone, the larger, full guitar body size, but he calls this his parlor size, and he even makes one that's a little smaller than this, that is a little narrower. And I kind of like that, not because these metal guitars can get pretty heavy. So that having it be smaller makes it a little lighter. And then as far as what he makes on the guitar, Ron actually builds every part of the guitar except the tuning pegs. So he spins his own cones. The Resonator cones that are in here are made of a certain, aluminum alloy that he likes, because him being a, very high-level metal engineer and knowledgeable metal person, he decided the type of alloy that he liked best for the cones, and then he spins the cones himself, and then he makes the guitars. And he also is quite an accomplished woodworker. He makes the necks too, and I had him fashion the neck of this after a 1930s OM style Martin, so it has a little bit of that V-shaped profile that some of those old 30s Martins have, because I like those. And then I had him set it up. I didn't really want to only play it for slide, so I didn't want the frets and everything to be set up in such a way so that the action was real high. I wanted to be able to play it like a guitar and play it with my fingers. And so he kind of set it up so that I just put light gauge strings on it. I don't, have an extra heavy set of strings. And then I asked him one time, this was a curiosity to me too, because when you have wooden guitars, you can change the sound of the guitars by using different woods and stuff like that. And so I asked him, I said, well, how do you change the tone? How do you mess around with the tone of a metal guitar to make it different? Because, the metal is just metal. There's not going to be rosewood metal and mahogany metal. So he told me that the way that he can influence the tone on these metal guitars is the way the back is arched. And I don't know if you can see this. I'll show it to you. But this is the back of the guitar, and it has a slight arch in it. And he said that if he changes that, he hammers out the metal, and so he can shape the way that the arches are in the back. And he said the main way that the sound is conveyed in a metal resonator guitar like this is through reflecting the sound. Unlike wooden guitars where the top, vibrates and sort of moves the air that creates the sound, in a guitar like this, it's the resonator cone that is moving and kind of pushing the air around. So the way that it is reflected by the guitar body and the way that it kind of shoots out of there affects the tone. So he, through many years of doing this and making these kind of guitars, can make subtle adjustments in the tone by doing different things with the back of the guitar. So I found that a very interesting thing to learn from Ron. So this is my Ron Phillips metal parlor guitar. If you're looking for anything like this, or a metal resonator ukulele, or any of these other things, I highly recommend his skills. And so hope you like that.